Now, I haven't had a long talk about this for a while, so let me do this for a minute. Heroes, or maybe hero is the wrong way to put it, but people you look up to, it is a really important part of your development, of my development, of human development. The people who are held up as, hey, look at this guy, look at this girl, look at what he did. It matters. If you constantly hold up in front of kids dirtballs and scumbags and losers, then you are going to have more kids who turn out to be dirtballs and scumbags and losers. If the people in your society who are held up are America haters, who are constantly trashing the country, America sucks, blah, 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 then we are going to have a bad percentage of people who think that way, and vice versa. If you hold up people who love the country, who do wonderful things, brave things, selfless things, then you're going to end up with more people like that. One thing that's been fascinating to me, because, I'm fascinated with this stuff. How can someone charge a machine gun nest, which is essentially what this guy did, but we'll get to that in a moment. How can people do that? And so I've been fascinated by, how do you create these people? I have 2 sons. And believe me, I don't want them to die in combat, but how do I raise the kind of men who would jump on a grenade to save a friend? How do you raise those types of men? And every time I ask that question, I get people who email in who know men like that, or my uncle was one or something like that. And almost to a man, they will say, well, their dad was that way. Or they were always talking about those kinds of things. My dad, I became a cop. I became this hero cop because that's what my dad did. It's what my uncle did. They were surrounded by these types. We should have, and I know there are great Medal of Honor museums. By the way, I heard the one in Dallas is amazing. I haven't been able to go yet. There are Medal of Honor museums and things like that around the country. That's something you need to bring your kids to if you ever have the opportunity. I know money doesn't grow on trees. Whenever I get a chance, I'm dragging my sons up there, and we're going to walk through it, and we're going to learn about it. And that is powerful. It makes an impact. Read Medal of Honor citations to your children, to your employees. You can read these at work, to your class, to your sports team. It does matter a lot. Now, Yukio Okutsu. He was in the U.S. Army, World War II. He was born in Hawaii, 2nd generation. His parents immigrated from Japan. Now, the Japanese, obviously American Japanese during World War II, you already know about the FDR and putting them in camps, and that you understand all that. Everyone understands that basic history. And so a lot of these people, with their parents in camps, said, I don't care. I want to join and fight for America anyway. I love America. And we were suspicious back then. So they generally did not get sent to the Pacific. We were, well, if they fight the Japanese, what if they join their side? It sounds ridiculous now. Didn't sound ridiculous at the time. So they would cobble together all Japanese units for the most part and send them off to Europe. They did a lot of fighting in Italy. You are aware, as I've told you before, the fighting in Italy, the Italian campaign, is one of those parts that's not talked about near enough in World War II. Normandy and all this other stuff, that gets all the glory and all the headlines. Fighting in Italy was freaking brutal because the whole place is mountains and rivers. It's a defender's dream. And those dirty Germans, they know how to do that kind of stuff. They're really, really, really good at it. They bounced the Italians out of there really quickly and said, okay, we'll handle this. You guys are basically useless. And the Germans had things fortified. It was tough sledding. So without further ado, he was born in Kaloa, hope I said that right, Hawaii, Yukio Okutsu, U.S. Army, World War II.
Ready, aim.
Honoring those who went above and beyond. It's Medal of Honor Monday.
For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty, Technical Sergeant Yukio Okutsu distinguished himself by extraordinary heroism in action on the 7th of April, 1945 on Mount Belvedere, Italy. While his platoon was halted by the crossfire of 3 machine guns, Technical Sergeant Okutsu boldly crawled to within 30 yards of the nearest enemy emplacement through heavy fire. He destroyed the position with 2 accurately placed hand grenades, killing 3 machine gunners. Crawling and dashing from cover to cover, he threw another grenade. He threw another grenade, silencing a second machine gun, wounding 2 enemy soldiers, and forcing 2 others to surrender. Seeing a third machine gun, which obstructed his platoon's advance, he moved forward through heavy small arms fire and was stunned momentarily by rifle fire, which glanced off his helmet. Recovering, he bravely charged several enemy riflemen with his submachine gun, forcing them to withdraw from their positions. Then, rushing the machine gun nest, he captured the weapon and its entire crew of 4. By these single-handed actions, he enabled his platoon to resume its assault on a vital objective. The courageous performance of Technical Sergeant Okutsu against formidable odds was an inspiration to all. Technical Sergeant Okutsu's extraordinary heroism and devotion to duty are in keeping with the highest traditions of military service and reflect great credit upon him, his unit, and the United States Army. That is awesome. Imagine having a rifle round bounce off your freaking helmet. That's crazy. That reminds me of that one story of oh man, I'm gonna forget his name now. It's not Art Jackson. God forgive me, I'm going to forget his name. He's a United States Marine, a hero. He won a Medal of Honor, earned a Medal of Honor in the Pacific War, and he was a flamethrower. He had a flamethrower. He was one of those guys. Now, the Japanese may have been willing to die, more than willing to die, wanted to die for the emperor, but nobody on earth wants to burn to death. Nobody. That's no way to go. So we used flamethrowers to burn them out of caves and pillboxes and things like that. The guys who held the flamethrowers were dead meat most of the time because it's one of those things. It's like a heavy machine gun. Whenever you see one, he's going to get most of the fire because that's the thing you're trying to silence. You're going to try to stop the flamethrower guy. And Woody Williams? Is it Woody Williams, Chris? Herschel Woody Williams. Dang it, nailed it. Anyway, Woody Williams, he talked about, he was a flamethrower guy. He cooked a bunch of Japanese guys in the islands. When he was crawling, he was low crawling with his flamethrower on his back. Bullets were whizzing off of his flamethrower tank. Oh my gosh. What's going through your mind every time you hear a ping and a bullet whizzes off the tank? Actually leads me to this email. Hey, Jesse. Like your show, you're innovative. Don't harp on the same topics everyone else is hashed to death. There's something I note about you that puzzles me. You seem obsessed with the glorification of war and combat. In my opinion, after millennia, mankind should have found a far better, more intelligent, and non-violent way of settling differences or even usurping power. Herald every man is eternally the fall guy, the tool, the indoctrinated victim of those wanting wealth and power, while the power-hungry sit insulated from danger and send nameless, faceless pawns to suffer and die. They make fighting, killing, and dying seem like a glorious act, so they continue to enlist the masses to do their dirty work. Okay, I understand what you're saying. I do. I get that. And I'm not even going to say there's no truth to what you're saying. I admire bravery. Even bravery in a cause that may be a bad one. Maybe there's been dishonesty. Almost always there is in war. Maybe the men who sent the others off to die are cowardly and useless. All those things are true. Everything you just said, they're oftentimes true. But that doesn't take away from the men who do the acts, who do the deeds. I think it's awesome. I think bravery is something that is underrated. It is an admirable trait, and when I find it, I talk about it, and I admire it.